Hello, everyone! Blue Star Saber once again here to do another live stream. But wait, it's not exactly a new one. It's a part two to the previous stream we did on Monday. The Amazing Spider-Man discussion of Nick Spencer's run, part one. Now this is part two, and once again to join me is Luckychi.
Yo, what's going on, guys?
Due to some technical difficulties on Luckychi's part, we've had to, and after 30 minutes of summarizing and realizing he was not going to come back here, I realized, and it was not to mention it was getting pretty late in my time, I figured I had to end the stream, and then decided to, later do a part two.
Yeah.
Okay, note to self, the next time when we're discussing a 50-plus issue run of a comic book, we're splitting into two parts in a live stream. Either that, or figure out how to learn how to edit podcasting. I know, whichever one's easier.
Well, I mean, there is always the thing of doing like each arc. You can always do like that.
Well, yeah, that's true. In fact, that's what I actually plan to do with this current one once it actually ends. But since since my initial plan to end it at 50 issues, due to the fact that I was in the hospital for a bit, and now due to the fact that you had faulty issues, and we might as well discuss the current arc so far and what it might mean for the future of this run.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, we have to conclude, the parts of the Sin Eater storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, just for a little recap, I'm sure people have probably seen me summarize and be Mr. Wikipedia.
I'm sure that's what Steve thought when he was listening to the last one. He's like, God, Blue's doing it again.
Yeah, so you could probably skip the last 30 minutes if you want or something like that, but hey, or if you just want a basic summary of the story, but anyway. The Sin Eater's back. He's been shooting villains. Instead of killing the villains, he's managed to steal their powers and also flush away their sin, and they now have reformed and all that stuff. He's gained a disciple of followers, and now they are targeting Osborn. When I last talked to you, we're in the middle of, we're around halfway to issue 48. I believe we were talking about, Spider-Gwen's reaction. And from what I can recall, she ended up telling Peter that she's not some idolized person to look up to, and I doubt either your Gwen Stacy is. In many ways, perhaps this is much needed commentary on perhaps some of the fandom's reaction to Gwen Stacy post her death, because let's face it, she seems to have gotten a bit of an idolized portrayal since then. Wouldn't you say, Luckychi?
Idolize is kind of subjective, if you ask me.
I know. I've seen many people say, "Oh, Gwen is Peter's first true love. She was perfect." Blah blah blah. And there's definitely some comic book writers that have written her that way.
I mean, you could say that, yeah. Okay, I wouldn't say she was perfect, but I would make the argument that, yeah, she was Peter's first true love. That much is guaranteed.
Yeah, but yes, it's true. That is, it's technically that, but it's like that she should be the one that be with Peter. Oh, she was meant to be with Peter, blah, 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 which, okay, yes, Stan Lee did intend for Peter and Gwen to get together, but to be fair, Gwen is kind of boring.
Next thing you know, you get like thousands of comments coming your way.
Well, we'll see by some Gwen fans, but to be fair, this is what the guy Jerry Conway, the man who killed Gwen, has stated. I can get my issue of the Death of the Stacys, my comic book volume of the Death of the Stacys, in which shows the two deaths of George Stacy and
No, I believe you.
Gwen
and I
Stacy.
can remember that too.
Let's see. Anyway, where is it?
But no, but I do want to say this though, like just on that subject. But you do have to think that like the story would have been a lot different if, say, Gwen didn't die.
Yes, I believe. But anyway, let's see. Anyway, this is from a statement by Jerry Conway in Los Angeles in 2007. And here's the bit where he says, "See, I'll be honest with you. I never much liked Gwen Stacy. Quite a mythology has grown up around Gwen after her death. She's been iconized, particularly in the Kurt Buskett's brilliant miniseries Marvels, but much of what makes her interesting in retrospect wasn't all that apparent when she was alive. In my view, Gwen is only interesting now because she's dead and because of the manner of her death. Oh, sure, she was sweet, and she was beautiful, and that's pretty much all you could say about her. Sweet, beautiful Gwen. Sweet, beautiful, boring Gwen." So, like many other girlfriends in the bygone days, not as to say heroes and girlfriends, fact is there weren't too many heroines and boyfriends at Marvel, or anywhere else in those days. So much like, for instance, Daredevil's Karen Page, Iron Man's Pepper Potts, Captain America's unnamed blonde CIA agent in Stranger Tales, which I think eventually became Agent 13, but hey. Thor's Jane Foster, the Hulk's Betty Ross, and of course Reed Richards' Storm. Granted, she eventually developed, of course we all know, she developed into a more, superhero in her own right. That was all. They were all sweet and beautiful, and dare I say it, boring. Let's see. Oh, but then goes up. But I'm going to stop there because it goes on to about how MJ was the most unique personality of all Stan Lee's creations at the time. But you get the gist of it.
So another Naruto situation, folks.
Yes, another Naruto situation. In a sense, though maybe not as bad as the Naruto situation. No comeback, Luckychi.
I mean, you know me. I don't really care.
Yes, but anyway.
I mean, look, I very much love the Peter and MJ relationship, but I'm not going to deny that, yes, Gwen was a fundamental figure in Peter's life.
Oh, yeah, I won't deny that as well. I'm just saying, all I'm stating is, let's see, this may be commentated about how sometimes the fan base tends to overrate Gwen Stacy, or particular parts of the fan base, to be precise. But anyway, Spider-Gwen has become popular in her own right, whether or not... Let's see, and apparently is even getting her own spin-off movie, so... Yeah, You could say there's an interesting version of Gwen Stacy out there, but it's not the original. Right.
You are going to die tonight, Blue.
Oh, yes, I'm probably going to get some slack from some Gwen Stacy fans. Let's see. For the record, I do not hate Gwen Stacy. I just don't. Let's see. But when it comes to, like, if it's the choice between Gwen and MJ, I will pick MJ for Spider-Man's true love. And yes, I am biased due to the cartoons, the comics, and the movies. But hey.
Okay, let's be fair. The movies...
Okay, the movies didn't give the best portrayal of MJ.
Well, okay. 1, I very much like. 2 and 3 is where... Okay, 2 kind of stretches a little bit, and 3 is like, let's fix it.
But anyway... Let's see. After she says that, don't idolize Gwen as this perfect girl, this tragic victim, because that's not who she was and not who Spider-Gwen is or Ghost Spider is. And that regardless of whatever happens, it's your choice. Let's see. So in a sense, Miles was playing the bad cop. You could say Gwen was playing the good cop. Anyway, Norman Osborn... Let's see, is being just pursued by the Sin-Eater's thing, which it feels weird summarizing something twice. And then eventually Peter encounters Julia Carpenter, the second Spider-Woman, and I believe the second Madam Web. And this is interesting. In a sense, she seems to play a bit of a neutral thing, though. The neutral cop, I guess. I know it feels weird saying that, but hey. or the
Yeah.
or the man in between, or the woman in between. Sorry, I'm gonna get in trouble with so many people at the stream, but oh well, with my clumsy words. But hey, anyway, on one hand, she realizes that Peter, she sees the future and what's going to happen, or the future is being a bit unfazed and she can't quite see, but she does know certain things that will happen. And she's talking to Peter about his current situation. On one hand, a world without Norman Osborn being a, let's see, psychotic killer. On the other hand, he suspects that there's more to this. Though she does also tell Peter that if Osborn continues the way he is, he will kill again. Which, face it, he probably would.
Yeah.
Let's see. You get a few images of Peter thinking of like his loved ones, such as Aunt May and Peter, and Spider-Man goes in to rescue Norman Osborn, but not before giving him a good smack. And then all the spiders arrive with Gwen and Miles Morales, Jessica Drew, Silk, Anna Kazan, Spider-Girl. I believe, let's see, Silk is Cindy Moon, but let's see, but I just call her Silk because it's easier. And apparently, Miles thought he got through to her. Gwen's not surprised of his choice. And it seems like this, I believe they call themselves the Order of Reb. I know there's some few tie-in issues about this, but I have not read those. So I cannot comment. Probably should have read them, but oh well. But the goal is to stop Spider-Man. So, what do you make of this issue, Luckychi?
Well, I know this issue had already come up by the time I had caught up to Spencer's run, but I thought it very interesting.
You think it was, in many ways, it seems to be following the themes of the first Sin Eater story. Which I'm trying to remember. Let's see, Sin Eater. Let's see. Whoops. I should have typed in Marvel. That's well. Let's see, Sin Eater comics. Let's see. Let's see, the death of Gene Wolfe's story arc, in which, let's see, as we all know, Gene D. Wolfe, a supporting Spider-Man character, I think in the team-up issues mostly, but one of the few cops that could get along with Spider-Man, is murdered at the beginning. Let's see, Spider-Man and police try to work together to find out who killed her. And eventually, it's revealed that the police that was in charge of the investigation was the killer. Spider-Man wanted to deck him or even let people kill him, but Daredevil, being sort of the morally conscious, got Peter stopped Peter in his anger and stopped the mobs and helped and convinced him to stop the mobs from killing the Sin Eater. In many ways, this seems to be a similar dilemma. Sin Eater is going to try and erase the sins and evils of Norman Osborn. On one hand, a non-evil Osborn a world without the evil Osborn without killing him seems like the dream come true for Peter, but it seems at the same time something is morally wrong with this. So he's trying to stop the Sin Eater from doing it, while the Spider people seem to wanting to let him do it. That seemed to be what this issue was implying. Seems like this time, Peter's the good cop, the Spider Gang is the bad cop. That's what I was thinking. What do you think?
It certainly had that impression when I was reading it. I was like, all right.
But anyway, whoops. Anyway, issue 49.
Which is actually where I caught up.
Yeah.
I think it's where I caught up. Was it 49? I think it was 49.
Yeah, but AKA issue 850.
Yep.
If you go by the legacy numbers. Either way, it's a big event.
Oh, yeah.
This is the return of the Green Goblin.
Abandoned ship.
let's see. So no, this is to get all hyped because you finally got Norman Osborn back where he is as the
Oh, I know,
Green
I know, I
Goblin.
know.
But yes. After a bit of monologuing about let's see what Peter means to him, what is their current situation, it's revealed that the Sin Eater has shot the Juggernaut, and thereby stealing his powers. Norman Osborn dons the Green Goblin costume, and for the first time ever, I believe.
No, I wouldn't say it's the first time he's donned it, because I mean, he did technically have it during the Red Goblin arc, so it's been a while since at least that arc in particular that we've seen him.
No, Luckychi, I think you kind of. Oh, wait, let's see. My internet might not be responding. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Okay.
Is everything good?
Yeah, I was just trying to share, but now on my end it seems to be frozen. Let's see. Let's see, my Google Chrome is not responding but loading. But anyway, as long as we're still ongoing.
Yeah, it should be fine.
What I was trying to say, I was going to try and share an image, but I can't seem to do that right now. Anyway, let's see, for the first time ever, Peter Parker and Norman Osborn are teaming up to survive.
I want to say Recipe for Disaster, but not gonna lie, if I wasn't intrigued by that. I was like,
Yeah,
oh.
who wouldn't be? This is the first time you probably had Peter Parker teaming up with his arch nemesis.
Well, I mean, there's been a few occasions. I mean, he's teamed up with Venom a few times, so at least one
Well,
of
yes.
them, I should say.
Well, yeah, it's true, but Venom was never on the same, let's see, personal level as, let's see, Norman Osborn. Now, interesting, the Return of the Green Goblin is divided in a few chapters, the first one being Unstoppable, but then again, this is because of how long it is. I think it's like 2 or 3 issues in one, with a few added bonus mini stories.
Yeah, they kind of do the same thing that they did with the last Red Goblin issue. I remember that.
Anyway, at first they're teaming up. The Green Goblin looks like he's being to kill. Peter Parker doesn't want that, but the villains have the powers of the villain, but the henchmen have the powers of the villains. While the Spider Team is looking on, and the reason why they want to stop Peter from saving Osborn is because Osborn is going to kill him unless the Sin Eater cleanses him. Let's see, but at the moment, let's see, granted, they're a bit shocked that he's actually teaming up. Let's see, they're thinking about to stop it, to intervene, but Gwen, let's see, gives a second option that they don't interfere in this, as she seems to have changed her mind, and CC can try and change theirs. By the way, Luckychi, at the moment, I am currently, let's see, my currently StreamYard Chrome page is not responding, but I can still talk to you, and if it looks, I'm still live, but...
You are. You're still live.
In case it's, let's see, in case this does not, in case this sort of like, it suddenly shuts down, we may have to end up doing a part 3. But anyway. Anyway, as Spider-Man and the Goblin continue the battle, they eventually come to a dead end with Sin Eater Juggernaut. They start to fighting, but let's see, they stand no chance against him because, well, he's the Juggernaut. As they return to Chapter 2, The Debt, which seems to have also changed the art style a bit.
But that happens periodically, though, with Marvel Comics.
Anyway.
We've got different artists and whatnot.
Yeah, anyway, due to the fact that, let's see, Norman's been in charge of Ravencroft, he's redesigned the security and has an escape route in which he's now leading Peter to run and hide in. As Gwen makes the idea of, let's see, what if, let's see, how, even though, let's see, we saw this vision, what is there something more to this? And Shin, let's see, and trying to convince them that this is Peter's fight and this is his demons, and even though they may think they may know best, let's see, but it's always his choice himself because he's Spider-Man. Anyway, There's a goblin, and let's see, goblin continue as the Juggernaut, Sin Eater, and the Spidey Goblin team up, continue to fight. They eventually. Let's see, Gwen also says they should put their decision to a vote. And then, let's see, Peter is thinking back to the first time Norman's thinking back to the first time they unmasked each other, and Peter's in a Derbus. Let's see. And it looks, and how, let's see, Peter saved him on that first occasion. But this is like, even though Norman has the perfect opportunity to probably end Spider-Man, he decides to save him to repay an old debt. Anyway, they eventually arrive to his underwater getaway vehicle. But the Juggernaut has also arrived. The two team up, even though it might be the end. And they figure out how to work together in this situation, because one of the biggest problems is they did not know how to work together at first.
Nope.
And then eventually Norman asks how did he originally beat the Juggernaut the first time, and which he revealed that was with cement mixer.
Yeah.
Anyway, they continue to fight. Let's see. Spider-Man and the Juggernaut continue to fight as Norman sets up the cement to sink the Juggernaut, while he's trying to prevent, and then eventually shoves him into the cement thing. He's also thinking of MJ at this point. Let's see. Granted, Peter's also stuck in the cement. He's asking Norman to help him, but Norman just cannot resist the chance to kill Peter. But gets saved by Spider-Gwen and the rest of the Spider Gang. They decided that they were going to stop him from saving Osborn at first, but they decide to respect Peter's choice. Let's see, granted, Norman just tries to start edging on Peter about how it all worked out in the end, but Peter's not going to trusting him after that, so he's keeping a close eye as he grabs him as they all enter the escape pod and forces Norman to sit down and relax. However, Norman cannot help but sniff or notice that Spider-Gwen.
That's Gwen.
Yeah. I think one thing I forgot to mention, let's see, just before the cement thing, let's see, Peter tries to apologize to the Juggernaut for trying to, when being still mad at him for, Jean DeWolf's death, not thinking he's reformed, which eventually led to his suicide, with the cops. But, of course, it's also trying to cleanse him. But, he's still determined to kill Norman because his master, Kindred, wants it. But Spider-Man was distracting him, so I should have probably mentioned that sooner. My mistake there. Anyway, back to what I was. No one can help but note that Spider-Gwen, or Ghost Spider, is Gwen Stacy, not from his timeline. But in many ways, Norman Osborn isn't. This is possibly buying some sins past interactions in this issue, which you probably don't want to be reminded of.
Say what now?
Okay, some of the words that Norman Osborn is saying here might hint.
That, yeah.
The one event you don't want to be reminded of.
Not gonna lie, reading, because that's the chapter, or in this case, issue that I caught up to, and I remember I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, okay, I've read Green Goblin before, but this is taking it to another level.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Anyway, Norman continues to edge on about Peter about Gwen, and about probably take people from. Not that he would probably try to take every one of his dear ones again. Peter thinking back, let's see, to everything that's happened previously about his choice. And eventually, Peter's thinking about how always somebody dies. Eventually, he loses his cool. Let's see, so eventually, he makes the opposite choice of what he's going to do and throws Norman Osborn and leaves him to the fate of Sin Eater and made a different choice.
Yay!
But as let's see, Madam Web says, no, you didn't. It's too late now. But in a sense, we then cut to let's see, Kindred, who is close by. Well, actually, Kindred is walking in what appears to be in a graveyard, while Sin Eater closes by. Not blaming Peter for his choice. Let's see. After all, he was never going to stop and all that stuff, but he's made a mistake. But it's because, let's see, one way or another, Kindred is going to make him learn a lesson. And no matter how deep they're in the ground, they never stay buried, as he's standing in front of a tombstone. And people are wondering, and he's got to wonder, let's see. Let's see if Peter has made and wondering who is, let's see, Kindred. Is he someone that is dead? But anyway, it looks like. But what this end of the issue is, Peter has made the wrong choice, and it looks like that wrong choice, Kindred is going to make him feel the consequences of it. Wouldn't you say, Luckychi?
For sure.
But yeah. So I believe, like you and me, Peter definitely made the wrong choice here.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, and it's understandable why he did the choice he did, but in the long term, it was the wrong one. As we're going to get into now in issue 50, though I will point out that yes, there are a few side stories.
But we're just going to talk about the main ones?
And this made one in this issue. But I haven't really read them, and I'm not really all that interested in really reading them. Granted, I probably should read them at some point. The only one at the moment, the only one I found interesting was the Vulture's Tombstone's granddaughter. Let's see, fighting Spider-Man over a misunderstanding, and and Spider-Man pointing out that your granddad's a villain, which leaves her to walk off as Spider-Man ended up getting pretty beat up due to the surprise attack. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say for those little side stories. But anyway, we get issue 50 of this current volume. Another sort of major event, if you're in a sense. This is also the first issue of Spider-Man to do the rest in peace of Chadwick Boseman, the late actor who played as Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they have on the covers. But anyway, this is the beginning of perhaps the last storyline in the current saga of Nick Spencer's, run, or the last, arc the arc to conclude the Kindred saga, or the build-up of Kindred. Amazing Spider-Man issue 50, The Last Remains.
What's currently ongoing right now?
Yes. Now, granted, I was going to do a separate stream for this, but I figured we try and conclude. Let's see for this stream.
I mean,
but
we still got at least a couple more issues until it's finished. So, I mean, if you want, I don't mind holding it off until we wrap up with that arc.
Possibly, though. Granted, I want to see how long we talk about this issue and all that stuff. But I will say, but it's possible we could just briefly talk about some of the things that are going on in the other issues.
Yeah.
And not go into full detail. Anyway. Kindred is currently digging out someone's grave, and it's revealed to be George Stacy as he's carrying the corpse. Anyway, we then change to Spider-Man, who looks who's swinging and ends up looking pretty beat up. Let's see, because he's clearly realized that he's made a mistake, and it's all his fault of what happened to it as he's given himself to a mess. And we go back to Norman Osborn just as Peter's thrown him out, and he's encountering the Sin Eater as he's ready to make Norman pay for his sins. Let's see, Norman tries to persuade, the Sin Eater that he's being manipulated by this Kindred because he knows who he is. He's not all that. Let's see. And that he doesn't even have the guts to take care of himself. Tries to persuade them to become partners, to do a lot better. Let's see. But then then goes on to his egotistical self. And then tries to be a bit more humble and beg for him not to do him. Let's see. And tries to beg him to help him, but not the way he wants to. Just get rid of the goblin, but not him. But anyway, Sin Eater shoots him, saying the work is done. Let's see. As we turn back to Peter, as he goes to Doctor Strange. And says he needs his help. And then we move back to Sin Eater, saying that he's done the tasks that Kindred wants to do, and he now wants him to answer him. However, Sin Eater has no further use for him, and decides to take away all the sins and all the powers he has given Sin Eater, as well as the others. And then decides that he no longer needs Sin Eater. Fair enough. And he goes on about how pathetic he is. And we seem to get a bit of a flashback to how he was able to recruit Sin Eater for killing his partner, for doing deals with drugs, saying he deserved it. And it appears that he's killed the Sin Eater with all the sins, but we'll get to that in a minute. But he's moved on the sins to, as we go to a bit more to a flashback to what happened with the Spider-Gang after Peter's choice, and the sins catch up and seem to infest all of the Spider people minus Spider-Man, as he explained this to Doctor Strange, and he is not happy about it. And he ends up going to say something I find very interesting, Luckychi, and I'm sure you find very interesting. It says, about his choice, whether or not it was to save lives or not, you made a deal with a demonic entity. Did you really think that wouldn't come back to haunt you?
Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was like, huh. All right, I guess we're tackling that now.
Yeah, it seems to be, one way or another, or at least, let's see, Nick Spencer seems to start addressing, or maybe even at least beginning to address, the one more day, and the mistakes that Peter Parker did, and for a larger record, Marvel editorial at the time, did with that storyline. Anyway, but they get interrupted by an attack from Silk, who's now demonic, as Kindred is preparing a dinner with George Stacy, and for a second you kind of think that Kindred might be Gwen, but then you also see Gwen's corpse, so that leaves her out of the bucket. Because for a second, I thought at the beginning of this issue, this is Gwen Stacy, isn't it? Anyway, we go back to Norman Osborn. He's rescued by some staff members as well from the Ravencroft, as well as Dr. Caffer, who has quite a few things to say to Norman Osborn for some of the things he's hiding. And then, as we see, Norman Osborn has also been affected, like every other supervillain, by the Sin Eater's new powers, who feels guilty of the things that he wants to help. But he learns that Sin Eater has disappeared and his followers are being arrested. And he then goes to have to find the being called Kindred, and it's his fault that he's like this, and how dangerous he is. But Dr. Kara is wondering, why do you care so much about someone so dangerous? And he reveals that Kindred is none other than his son, Harry Osborn.
Which, I'll be honest, I kind of saw it coming, but I was like, alrighty. That is interesting, to say the least.
Yep. For a while, many people had begun to suspect it was Harry Osborn ever since the previous
conversation with Norman, yeah.
scene.
That's kind of one I was like, okay.
But see, granted, I didn't quite put it two to two together at the time. Granted, I wonder if this was, because I was still wondering, could this be like some other version of Peter Parker? Could this be some demonic version of Aunt May from the One More Day? Or something like that. But it was possible that it was Harry Osborn.
Yeah.
But yeah. But yes. Now, granted, I'm not sure what everyone's reacting. I've seen some positive Ritzy reactions. I've seen some negative reactions to this. But either way, I think this is the one that makes sense. But granted, the biggest question that I think is left is, how is Harry Osborn this demonic being Kindred when he's been brought back from One More Day and seems to be trying to live his life and trying to step out of Norman Osborn's shadow? Heck, and I think even in the last one, in the final issue, you saw Harry Osborn, fine and dandy, trying to move on to his legacy and try and rebuild the relationship with his family, with Liz and Normie Osborn.
Mm-hmm.
Many people are wondering what is going on with there. Which is yet to be explained in the issues, but anyway, we're just going to go in a little. I'm not going to go into too much. Let's see. I'm not going to go into full details, but I'm going to briefly talk about some of the things that happen in issue 50 plus RL. We see glimpses of Norman's conversation more with Ravencroft, as well as Spider-Man being attacked by the demonic entities that is now his friends. Let's see. More of Norman Osborn's guilt. Let's see, and at the end of the issue, it feels like Norman tells Ricardo that the only person that can stop Harry is none other than Mary Jane Watson. Which I'm excited for the return. But yeah. But yeah, anyway. The next issue is focusing more on Doctor Strange and Peter teaming up. But Doctor Strange says we do things his way, but he gets, help from Black Cat to try and do things his way. I'm not going to go into full details, but it seems like he's gone into another world, and there's an MJ there. Let's see. And he wakes up, and the issue ends up waking up with Peter at a grave with all his loved ones that are dead. But yeah, we'll go more into detail when we actually do this storyline for,
Yeah.
And let's see, the RL for this issue, for 51, is Sin Eater waking up from his followers. He's still alive. He seems to have not been killed off. And it seems he's still determined to try and win Kindred's favor again. Norman help, reuniting, it's Norman saving Mary Jane from a, disaster caused by one of the spider demons. And it feels like that Sin Eater's next target is, to my surprise, and I'm pretty sure to your surprise, Morlun.
That was kind of surprising, I'm not going to lie.
Given the fact that last we saw him, he was being taken away by police officers from the Spider-Geddon event, where he is now the last member of his family, but hey. But we'll talk more about that into detail. But yeah, anyway, 52. You have Peter interacting with Kindred finally at last, and then fighting, but he cannot beat him. Let's see, and with the issue ending with it, let's see, Peter making a deal, let his friends go, and you can have him, and he does that, and he takes him away. Anyway, MJ and Norman have a talk in 52.RL about the spiders have realized what they're awakening from the damage they've done, with Doctor Strange coming to her assistance. And Mary Jane Norman trying to explain what's going on with Harry to MJ. And what kind of danger is. Let's see. And Sin Eater is using his followers and turning them into spider beings from Spider Island so that they can lure out Morlun. And Doctor Strange ends up taking the spider people to this other world, and there's a shallow figure of a redhead woman. And we're wondering who that might be. And the final issue, let's see, that just came out today. Let's see, Kindred is briefly visiting his family. And we get flashbacks to the events after what happened when Peter made his deal with the devil, being woken up by Aunt May. Peter remembers this, goes to a party. Let's see, sees Flash, happy to see he's alive, sees MJ, but MJ's escaping, and Harry's returning. Let's see, and you see Carly Cooper. Let's see, and then we see that, Peter Parker seems to be dreaming of sorts. Let's see, on some sort of tombstone where Kindred is. He's trying to reach MJ, but can't. But Harry he's interacting with Harry. And it's revealed. And Peter finally learns that Kindred's identity is Harry Osborn. But yeah, so that's where we are at that. But anyway, we're not going to go into full details, but what are you making of the storyline so far, Luckychi?
How to put it? It's really engaging. That's one thing I can say. I know I've seen a few people talk about this latest issue as being a bit slow.
And a bit fillerish.
It kind of was. It was a little slow, but otherwise, I think the story arc so far has been great.
Anyway, I'm just trying to. Let's see. Okay, it seems like all my chromes are not really properly responding. But anyway.
What about you? What's your thoughts on it so far?
So far, from what I'm getting at, from what I'm predicting how the storyline is going, it seems Peter Parker is going to learn that he made the deal. He was actually married. Let's see. This is what I'm thinking. What the story's going down. From the way the story's been going. Let's see, Strange is saying you're making deals with the devil. Let's see. And the way that this is Harry Osborn, this demonic being is Harry Osborn. He's mad at Peter for something he's done. Let's see. And the MJ is the only one who can stop him and stuff. Norman needs to bring MJ into this. And all that stuff. It seems that the main point of the storyline, it seems to be, from what I can predicting at the moment, is that Norman Osborn. No, wait, it's that. Let's see, Harry Osborn. Let's see. As we know, was brought back after one more day. It was explained that he didn't actually die or had some sort of, I think, drug overdoses or something. Norman Osborn shifted him up to Europe to get treatment. He came back. He ended up splitting with Liz, and his son Normie hates him, and he ends up meeting someone else, and I think having a few kids with them, but I think they also split up. Eventually changing his name to Harry Lohman to not associate with Norman Osborn. Eventually recurring with his family. But it seems like we're going to probably it seems like Peter's actually going to get the actual explanation of why he's back, is because he made a deal with Mephisto, and it seems like one of the consequences Mephisto did it's this thing is that it's brought Harry Osborn back, but as a demonic entity, and that Peter, and the reason why he's doing this and why this is happening is because of Peter's own selfish desire to not let his aunt go. Now, granted,
which is actually something that I've seen a lot of people theorize on, like, at least at the very least since this arc started.
Yes, so this seems to be at least what he's doing. Now, granted, Aunt May has yet to properly be introduced into the storyline yet. Perhaps she will, perhaps she won't. At the moment, Sin Eater is not targeted.
There's a few issues left, so that's possible.
But yeah, we don't know for sure. But definitely MJ is going to be involved. But I feel like by the end of this story, Peter Parker is going to learn the selfish choice he did. The selfish choice that he did of, keeping on Aunt May, even though she probably wanted to let go. And it cost him, a happy life he could have had with MJ. And and it's undecided consequence of this. He ended up bringing back a character who was Harry Osborn, who was probably at peace and probably would have preferred to stay dead or something.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the direction, Nick Spencer is going. Now, of course, I could be wrong, but I feel like by the end of this, Peter is going to remember what he did with One More Day. Now, whether or not is One More Day going to be reversed by the end of this issue, by the end of the story, I am not entirely
convinced. I'm not sure about that, but like the most at this point right now, like if One More Day gets reversed, all right, cool. But at the very least, I do think he and probably MJ are going to be aware of what happened.
Now, whether or not this will put a strain on the relationship and they split up again, I do not know. Though, granted, I'd rather they not split up again, because I'm sick of that.
Here's what I think. I think what they might, and this might be like the only alternative I could imagine, is say they're aware of it, and instead of falling back into what it did last time, they just embrace what happened and, push forward.
Yeah. We still don't know, let's see whether or not the direction Nick Spencer is going to go, because it seems like he's trying to fix some of the stuff that's happened with One More Day. Whether or not he's going to try and reverse it, or at least make Peter acknowledge this happened and then try and move on and try and rebuild what he foolishly gave up the first time, I'm not sure. Granted, it's very much, I'm hoping that, of course, Peter and MJ end up married again. But yeah. But anyway, now that we've distressed... But anyway, now that we've done this bit, I just want to ask, given what we've read on the 50-plus issues so far, what do you make of Nick Spencer's run?
It's been solid. I mean, okay, I'll say this. It's not been perfect by any means. I mean, there's been a few arcs that's been like, I'm not going to say terrible, but just okay. Like, again, the bit with the Spider-Man 2099 I thought was okay.
I definitely say that's probably the weakest storyline in this entire run so far.
Yeah, it's had some good ideas, but I think like in terms of like execution is where it could have been better handled. But otherwise, it's been a pretty good run so far.
Yeah, well, not to mention, the tie-in issues, or just your standard event comic, shoot-in tie-ins kind of thing, rather than the clever point HR or HU thing that's been happening with the Hunted storyline and this current storyline. Because I think that's actually a clever way of saying this is these issues may not be essential, but they give more details and more insight to certain characters and what happened to them. So yeah, I think in many ways I would recommend people reading these point issues. Between the numbers, because they are really cool. the hunted ones. I particularly liked the gibbon one, the lizard one in particular, and the lizard one because the gibbon one gives this tragic insight to a character that most people have seen a joke as, while the lizard one finally addresses many of the many of the problematic characterizations as happened to Lizard post One More Day ever since Shed happened. But yeah. But anyway, other issues I'd probably say with this run would probably be the relationship with Peter and J. Jonah Jameson. Though granted, that's not entirely Nick Spencer's fault. This is something that happened in on the Spectacular Spider-Man's previous run, and that's previous editorial management and stuff. Because I do think there's also a new editor for Nick Spencer, right?
I believe so.
It's amazing how editors for can make a Ritzy series run good or bad. Don't you think, Luckychi?
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah. Now, I think we probably said this in the previous stream. We both said that Hunted has so far been the best.
This one could very well top Hunted, though.
Yeah, depending on how it ends. This is probably the best contender for it.
Yeah.
I'd definitely say one of the my favorite things about this run is that it has brought back the Peter and MJ thing and put them very much back into character, or as best they could, with all the baggage that's been happening in the last 10 to 11 years.
Well, for me, okay, I love the Peter and MJ stuff, and I think that's amazing, but I just love how Peter's just feeling like Peter again.
Yes, that is definitely the main thing about this issue, is that I think for many people, the biggest problem with the Dan Slott run, at least eventually came, or at least just Brand New Day in general, is
at
that
the very least since post Spider Island. That's when I started noticing. I was like,
Now, granted, I think depending on who you ask, they'll probably say ever since, after One More Day, Peter Parker went from a responsible adult that was growing and learning to a man-child who looked like he was in a midlife crisis. I think that's what many people say. Because I think there was many immature or Peter being idiot moments during the, post One More Day thing. And in many ways, lack of irresponsibility, being responsible.
Yeah.
And Nick Spencer has addressed that and making, for the most part, Peter being responsible. See his actions, consequences. But of course, he still has Peter mess up, make faults, has some idiotic moments, but not, your stupid idiotic moments.
Right.
Like you're super dumb kind of thing, because Peter Parker is one of the smartest heroes there is out there, though not on the levels of like Reed Richards, Tony Stark, Hank Pym, but up there. It's sort of like just up there at least. But
he's got his flaws. I'll don't say that he's got his flaws. He's not perfect, but yeah.
So yeah. It's build back relationships that would kind of damaged and destroyed during the last 10 years, such as Black Cat. We mentioned that and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, in many ways, the Nick Spencer run has been addressing the issues of the last 10 years and fixing them. Of course, while doing some interesting storylines of himself, such as would see Peter's ongoing buddying relationship with Kindred, him relearning, him properly getting his college degree rather than getting handed to him by Doc Ock. Lizard, dealing with the past guilt of his family. The ongoing mystery of who is Kindred.
Which we already know.
And, I forgot to mention, and it appears to be something going on with Peter's new college mate, Jamie, who might be a supervillain.
You are using the 5-stage lesson cycle in your science class.
Okay.
The student.
Was that from your end? Luckychi?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Okay, sorry. That's it. Okay. So yeah, and let's see, and stuff like that. And while this is not really a storyline I'm particularly interested in, but there's also the Teresa Parker and Chameleon storyline. Granted, I still think Peter Parker having a secret spy sister doesn't really work for him, but it's there now. As due to the previous spectacular Spider-Man run, I think. Was it the Sensational Spider-Man run? I don't know. I keep forgetting the titles, but yeah. But anyway, but yeah. In many ways, I'd say Nick Spencer's run has shown one of the benefits of having different comic book writers on different run, or one of the benefits that comics have over mangas, Luckychi, is that eventually a comic book's run can fix or get better after having a period of disaster.
That much is true.
Mm-hmm.
That much is true.
Of course, that might. Of course, let's see. Of course, some mangas could possibly recover from having I suppose, having a slippery slope, but it depends on how much of the mess they've made. I'd say.
If it's ongoing, yeah. By the time it ends, then well, good luck.
Well, you're going to need a lot of work to fix that, if you actually decide to do it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think we're just about done, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, we've nearly just done about an hour, which, to be fair, was probably more that we're going to take. We'll see. Probably if we continued the stream, it probably would have been, from the first one, we probably would have gotten into the 4-hour mark. But hey. But anyway, thank you, Luckychi, for joining me. But yeah, but before that, I do have some announcements of what I hope to do in the future. Now, of course, I still intend to try and do recapping, looking back at previous Naruto arcs, such as I still want to do the Kazekage one, but I still need to finish watching the anime episodes. I need to remember why I'm actually on those because I lost track. But definitely, it's somewhere in the Sakura versus Sasori fight. So I'm close to the end. Let's see. The next, stream I have. What's the stream I have planned, at least for Spider-Man, is concluding this. Is when the story arc actually concludes in December 30th. I want you. Let's see whether or not you, can join me on that day, or possibly some point during the new year. Let's see, 2021. Blimey, it's hard to believe that's almost there.
2020 Vision's almost finished, guys.
Yep. And what a roller coaster this year has been. I can't wait for 2024.
2024.
Yeah, because it seems whenever you have an election, Luckychi, the whole world goes to fire. But yeah, okay, I'm joking. Let's see. But hey. But let's see. But another planned stream I want to do, though granted, I probably need to see if I can get possibly James, manga reader, Steve, or maybe For Life, at least some of them in at least. I want to do in a topic I've been thinking that I have seen on YouTube, but it's mostly been about the politics of ongoing comic books thing. But let's see, the politics of comics right now. But I want to do a live stream discussion of comics versus mangas as a mediums, like.
Ooh.
And to explain what it is, I want to discuss the strengths and weaknesses of the runs, such as publications, the editing, the marketing, the adaptions, and maybe to an extent, maybe the artworks, the colorings, pacings, and maybe characterizations, particularly like. This might be a bit controversial. Maybe the discussion of how both comics and manga have portrayed female characters over the decades and years. Let's see.
That can be kind of controversial, depending on who you talk to.
Yes, but we'll try to make it less controversial as possible. And the current state of the comic industry and the current state maybe of the manga industry, and overall, which one talk possibly like which one at the moment seems to have the brighter future, or possibly in their prime, which one would you consider to be, let's see, the better medium or the better genre and stuff? Okay. Maybe also talk a little bit about comic sales and manga sales that are currently, let's see, right now. Stuff like that. You know, that's the general idea of what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. It'd be interesting.
Anyway. And the third stream I'm thinking of, which probably might actually happen sooner than the rest, but I want to see how many people are getting involved. I want to do another Boruto stream. Let's see when the next chapter comes out. But the main reason I wanted to discuss this, because I also want to make this into a discussion video of Kishimoto's return to Boruto, what it means for the franchise, what's going to happen to it, what Kishimoto's going to do, what's the future, let's see, is there any hope for stuff that we want to happen, or could this stuff like...
I was just gonna say this, like, just so people are aware, this is gonna be Kishi after Samurai 8, so it's not. If you're gonna expect some of the same things you saw in Naruto, I don't know. I think it's gonna be a little different, just a little.
Granted, you might want to go more into detail when we actually do this stream, of course.
Yeah. Well, when we do the stream, I'll go into a lot more detail, but I just want to leave it in there.
But let's see. But yeah, it's like, let's see what this means for the fan base, how people have reacted, and what it might mean for for us Naosaku fans. But yeah, or is there any hope for us? But we'll get on to that there. But anyway, I've done all my announcements. We've talked about what we wanted. We've probably given, our watchers probably more, a long time, more than, enough time. We thought of their time more than long enough. Thank you, Luckychi, for joining me. I thank anyone who watches this. Please check out my channel, more videos in my channel, and also Luckychi's. You can see on his channel as we discuss manga series ending and which ones are better, or My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, and many more.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. As always, Blue.
Yeah. At the moment, my Chrome is still not responding, but I'm going to try and close it and see if that ends it. But granted, that might mean, our call also automatically ends, but once again, Luckychi, thank you again, and I thank everyone who watches this, and this is Blue Star Saber signing off.
Later, guys.